deep red rakatoibva iri mupoto kana mudumbu rinokwana. And so I'll cut it.
Teaspoon.
So it's soft flesh.
Right. So as you can see, there was nothing which was dripping up. Hapana chaerera nditi. Which means this is more of flesh rather than soup. So these two aspects zvinokava zvinhu two. Chekutanga chacho is the sugar content of this tomato. Then the flesh aspect of it. So if it has more flesh, it means it can store for a longer period rather than those ones which are watered. So if you can get a good variety, it means for a longer time, you can store it after harvest. So what we recommend to farmers who want to venture into greenhouse production is to find a tomato with very good disease resistance tolerance. So from the varieties that we have, pane chinhu one chiri kuoneka pamatomatoes esap, which is difference in resistance packages. Rectangle Romion, which is a trail variety, open field, rukuradza mashizha aro kuti affectwa ne-early blight. Those are early symptoms of early blight. So as you can see, it's very susceptible. Rakutooneka kuti raita sei rakurirwa. So this tomato cannot fight early blight for a longer period of time. So when it's exposed out there, you have challenges with early blight, which is different from the varieties arikuya kuno. So if you look at Mashadu, it's still dark green in color, which shows that it can sustain blight for a intermediate period compared to that one. So what you need to look at is the disease resistance package for the tomato that you are choosing as a production aspect. So going to Mashadu, the cluster side is uniform as you start. So panapa ni ababa makatarisa vana vacho vese vachiri vakakwana. They are coming in 5, they are coming in 6, which is a very good for a cluster. If you can maintain 6 fruits from every cluster, you are guaranteed of having an average yield of around 800 to 900 grams from one cluster. So if you can get 800 grams from every other cluster, when you reach 16 clusters, you would have reached around 14, 12 kgs. So it's a good yielder, considering my indeterminate varieties. So what you need to do is to look at the consistency. Is it consistent from start to finish? That's the aspect that you need to look into. Vana vacho vari kubuda vari uniform here, vachiri ma 180 here, vachiri ma 160 here, because most of these varieties, they start with heavy fruit sets pasi, then they diminish as they go. So when you reach 10 clusters, you will not be able to get zvawaiwana kuno kwekutanga tanga. So if you can get a variety inokwanisa kusvika pa 10 clusters ichikupa ma uniform sized fruit, that's a heavy yield. So it's something that you can consider for your production. So my other recommendation is, when you're doing this Mashadu tomato, please do it as a single stem leader. I need 2 stems kana 3, because it will contribute to smaller fruit sets. So if you want to have very high yield in a very good fruit set, start with 1 leader, which is a single stem. Then your stem, for your check, is it going well with my fertilizer program? You need to use your thumb against your stem. So if your thumb is fitting in your stem, then it means you have a good fertilizer program. The previous group we were discussing about fertilizers. They were saying kuti imi mukisa NPK kakawanda, mukisa baso yakawanda. We had a discussion ataita. But what is much more important about fertilizer regimes is to use zvakatanga Winstart, Windgrow, then mafoliar fertilizers. You need to integrate kuti uwane a different method of administration. Then as well, what is very, very, very crucial about tomatoes is to know your soil structure. You should know kuti if rangu is it susceptible to fusarium? So you need to have a comprehensive soil analysis. So if you can go to Kutsaga, TRB, they will give you something comprehensive with everything that you need to know about your soil. So your diseases are also aspects that you need to do when you're considering a variety. If you're choosing a variety, you need to know good zoni. Is it good against TMV? Because kune mango varieties anojairirwa ne tobacco mosaic virus. Kune mango varieties anojairirwa ne Fusarium mold. So you need to know all the disease resistance package of a certain variety before you go to the production table. So here's a decision. This has a very good disease resistance package other than yield. Tisatanga kumanyisa ne yield kuti hey rinoita 15 kg per plant, hey rinoita 20. You need to know, can it endure the production time? If you say this thing is going to go for 7 months of picking, does it really reach 7 months of picking? So those are the important aspects that you need to know. So if you can look into these tomatoes, you can see, okay, irukanda vana vakawanda, but this cannot go for a longer period of time. I need to take it within 3 months. So for those who are producing for markets arikure, we have my tomatoes. Nowara. Nowara is a very early fruit set. Makatarisa pasa papa rine akawachuka akawanda kusvika kumusoro compared to that one. Because I anokurumiza kuiva. They are fast maturing and they are smaller in size. So this one gives you something between 80 to 100 grams from every fruit. So if you are doing the Eastern Highlands market, the Mozambique market, these are the varieties that you need to consider. You need to consider something chine flesh yakawanda, chisingakurumidze kukwara in the transportation phase. So when you're transporting a variety in a flesh yakawanda, it means good zoni breakage yako is at lowest. So we'll do another test. Right, ndapika rino. Ndichacheka futi nespoon zvamusuri kuda zvezvi. Right, inonzi flesh test yatikuita. So kubva uku kusvika uku, this is a thick soul which allows us to enjoy flesh yakaita sei yakawanda. So these fleshy tomatoes have very good bricks content. They also have very good storage life. So those are the things that you can look into. Right? Ndataurisa. Vachisango. Ndakuda mubvunzo.
I've observed over time that most greenhouse tomatoes I think fertilizer.
Okay, right. On that, we are discussing now. Yvette is the expert for windmill fertilizers. So usually we encourage farmers to use Windstart, Windgrow, and Windbloom. So if you look at Windstart, Windgrow, Windbloom, as Agadaro, even my foliars, one thing in common is NPK. So the other farmer was saying, no, we need to go back to basal. So I was explaining, okay, basal is something which is an immobile component. It does not move upwards. We call it a base because it needs to be underneath. So if you need that, you are going to put a trench. Trench pass. So that when it grows, fertilizer so you find good one for someone who has a trench, NPK yake inoramba iri pass. Then when you're using Windstart, Windgrow, Windbloom, Quickstart, Quickgrow, all those fertilizers, they have a percentage NPK as well. So when you finish ku Windbloom, you can start again ku Windstart.
Okay.
So that you then start building on your vegetative growth again, as well as your stem. So when you build your factory, simbare any variety, irumashisha. So the other aspect which is very important, when you're building your canopy, make sure kuti hauprune usati watema sezvakaitwa apa. Wakapruna kuno kwakasiya ari green kudai so haasina kwaachaenda. So you also need this factory to build on your fruit set. Saka kana une fruit set yako une good vegetative growth, it means kuti zvoni chikafu chakawanda chakonvertwa into meaningful energy. saka ipapa pashizha apa ndopane chimwe chitsotsi chacho, nepastem pedu apa ndopane chimwe chitsotsi chacho. So when we finish wind bloom, we go back to wind start. So we don't recommend kuti basa uiswe katu. There's nothing called X. Ndainetsana nevanhu varimi kugruyo achikura kuto X amanduwe kati aiwa akuna chinonzwe X amanduwe hazviko. Ya zvimwe zvezvinhu zvekuti vanhu vakaita zvinogona kuita songe zviri kushanda, but my recommendation is use izvozvo zvanana wind grow, zvitori nemanutrients yayo kudhara. So if you look at the packet you find kuti ne NPK, but madoses ndo anogona kusiyana kuti it's high in phosphorus, sometimes it's high in potassium, but NPK is always there. So whenever you're putting those elements, it means that you are catering for the NPK. So there's no need for you to come with granules of basa. Then chimwe chinhu chakanyanya kukosha, I've seen of late most tomato farmers vasafa nenyaya early ne-late blight. Madomasi mazhinji akarohwa stem, kunosvika stem yakaita grey, imwe yakatoita black, zvizoaffecta even nema-fruits. Masprayings edu anofanira kunge ari religious. Makatarisa panapa, wherever you go, you find kuti zvoni mishonga iri kutooneka pamashizha kuti these people are spraying. So whenever you are producing, please musanete kuspraya, ndopamari. Because the moment yaunoneta pakuspraya ndopanonetawo plant yako pakubuild resistance. Then as well, it's very important kuti unge uchitenderedza mishonga ngairotete. Ngatisangoramba tichingoti kopa zvafana nemunhu aringoti panado, parasit. That's very dangerous. Come up with different fungicides. Wakamboendawo kunana kobhu kwacho ikoko, ombodzokawo kumabravo, omboenda kuchlorothanil, ombodzoka nemametalman, waisa metalax, waisa chemalax. I think kumafungicide ndo kune mishonga yakawandisa yekuti kana ukada kutowana a different group unogona wana magroups akasiyana kusvika pakupedza. Ukatsvaga ridomil, ukatsvaga folio gold, you have different structures yemishonga. Maactive ingredient ngaasiyani, zvotiwo chinongoramba chita sei chichivhunduka kuti zviri kuitika. Then kunewo zvinhu zvakaita kunge vana bion, you can use that kuti ibuild active resistance. So from genetics alone you can also trigger kuti rebuild a resistance from within. So when you put bion, rinonzwa kunge raita sei raruwa nechirwere, then active resistance yakafanana nemukaka waamai within the genetic compound rakutobudisa yakuita sei yakuita active resistance. So that will help you fight diseases. Panozospraya paipe bion inenge yaita kuti zviendeke. Yes, you can do per open field, but my recommendation is just do 2 liters only. You don't need to do 3 or 4. If you're doing it per open field, ngangova ne2 mastem chete, so that you harvest earlier, you don't fight with the rains. Because most of the farmers, my indeterminate nemvura one. I've seen all sorts of drama. So my recommendation is, if you are doing it open field, make sure you plant them earlier, maybe start of summer. Kuzosvika na October, 2 liters will give you the yield that you look for in a greenhouse. So what's very beautiful about open field production is Zua is at maximum. So vegetative growth as well, it has to be at maximum, so that shield my fruits are against about sunbeam. So that awite zvimwe zvimadomasi zvakaita yellow, zvimwe zvakatsva side, ukudila ne2 liters only. You're dealing with 2 liters. Indeterminate inokura zvakafanana nedeterminate kana wakariregerera. Wakairegerera inogona kubuditsira 4-5 mastem. But you don't need 4-5 stems if you are dealing with something chichazoreba. You only need 2. 1 ichakura nekuno kune 1 ichakura noku. Wo maintenance akadaro. Pakaita ichi3 iri saka bvisa. Pakaita ichi4 bvisa. Maintain 2. So if you maintain 2, it means kuti you are getting more clusters at a shorter height, but at a fast rate. So what you then need to do is kana richinge rangokura rakangoita vana varaita ovha wapruna, the same thing yaunoita kupi kuno kuopen field, so that you get your yield earlier. You don't struggle kana mvura yauya, because when heat increases zvirwere futi zvinowedzera. Mvura painouya hosha dzinosimuka. So you need to maximize your yield earlier. So if you plant munana August, that's transplanting, munana August, September rukura, October ndo pane pakunyatsodambura zuva redu reheat wave riya rinoita kuti chikurumize tese kusimuka nekuibva. So it means kuti mafruits aka anokurumidza kuita se kukanda, anokurumidza kuita ripen. Then you can go to the market earlier and you can maximize your yield.
How much can you get for open the plant run?
Our recommendation is if you reach 12 kgs, visa. If you reach 10 kgs, visa. Yeah, because you need to fire. There's no need for you to compete with Munya and greenhouse because you already pass. Protected environment is always good. It helps protect the crop against zvikufamba. And it hosha kana yakasimudzwa nemhepo if you are in a greenhouse, you are protected. Then mvura kana yakawanda if you are in a greenhouse, haisi kuflooda pace up. But kana uri open field, mbedha wacho kana uchitokwanisa unofanira ngori as high as this. If it can go to 40 centimeters from the ground, the better, because you are going to be fighting with leaching as well. Mvura yakangowanda umomo yakulicha ma nutrients. So if I good fertilizer yakushandisewo yakafanana nemunhu ari greenhouse, greenhouse is better off because it's protected, it's not being washed away. So those are the things that you need to look into: the timing and the management. This is what I've observed over time. Wachisangu, do you remember nyaya yataitaura kuti butternut window rinovhura pakati yeah, right? What happens is winter butternut, it pays a lot, but the yield is cut to half. So the yield now is the component that will add to your profit. Saka if you have a very high yield, chero price iri pa half yezvaunowana zvinongonosangana pakati. So what happens kana kuchipisa, you get a shorter cycle in production, then you get a higher yield compared to winter. So you find kuti kana wakaita 10 tons zichitengesa at dollar, waita 20 tons zichitengesa at 50 cents, waita chinhu 1, but it's easier in the water season. So for most farmers, you need to work in between and see good, okay, which one is much more profitable. It's one and the same thing done in a different way. Because if you get 10 tons at dollar and you get 20 tons at 50 cents, it's one and the same thing in different timelines. So sometimes you need to play around with your projections and see kuti, okay, window rangu rinovhura rekuti nditengese $1, but ababa window rangu rinovhura yield kuti nditengese at 50 cents. So you maximize on yield, then you double on the lower price. That's what you do. So most farmers will get something less than 10 tons of butternut in winter and get 20 to 30 tons as optimum yields in summer. But the price is inenge yarorwa pasi. So you find good zone, you can do it easily in summer without much hassle, but you get the same results at the end of the road. I don't know. So you need to be very calculative whenever you do your production methods and your production consideration. So I would rather come in early kuti panovhura window musi wa 1 August ndakutotransplanter butternut rangu, handiti ronorohwa nezuva raOctober roluza mvura, weight yacho inenge iri bow, ndobva ndanotengesa kupi kumarket at a very high yield compared kumunhu anga achistruggle nekupisa masawdust nekupisa matai. I've seen all those sorts of challenges in winter, but vanhu vanenge vachianticipate a bigger price. But in the end you see good all the hustle yanga ichingoitwa, it's one and the same thing in summer, but munhu anenge angoattractwa nechi ne face value yeprice. Segur, what do you think?
No, I agree with you. Totally agree.
And I think that I've also noticed is most of these farmers are opting to, preferring to do greenhouse tomatoes open field. But looking at what happened last year, most of my friends, I think they harvested up to here. And they lost everything that was up there. I don't see any reason why someone would want to do a greenhouse tomato open field. Yet you can get an open field tomato that can reach this size. And you get this, you compare the yield from ground to here. For Mashadu, even the ones that we were seeing there, even the other varieties giving me better tonnage in the region of a meter. I think I will go for the other variety.
Okay, I would like to agree 100% on that. What you notice with open field varieties is they will pack as much tomatoes, as many as they can pack at once. You find good if you see something called Lucia chakanyorwa, Lucia will give you all sizes of fruits kawan. You don't want to kanda ma fruits kawan. Then if you're looking at something between 6 to 7 kgs, you can pick kawan. You are good to go. Within 3 months, you are done. But you need to wait for 6 months of this. So it's more appealing to the eye, but the results are totally different. So whoever came with an open field variety, he knew what he was doing. Within 3 months, you should be able to put another one. Then you have to wait for this one to generate for the next 6 months. So if you can put open field tomatoes, 3 months, you're good to go. Apera. You can put another 3, and you can get double the yield compared to this one. Because this open field is slow. It's slow in open field. It will give you one cluster, one cluster, one cluster, one cluster. But that one will just pick vana vesitrese zvavakaita pasa. Vana vakangozara vakawanda pasi. You pick it once, then you can put another one. Per 6 months, you can do 2 plantings. So 2 plantings of an average of 5 to 6 kgs, you can beat someone who's doing this. So it's better to have a shorter cycle, easy to grow, than to have a longer cycle, hard to maintain. Because as it goes upwards, lose a figure. But this one at 3 months is very vigorous and it's fast at giving you fruit sets. So the younger the fruit, the higher the energy. Mudara achembera angamomayane nika 100 meters. Anogona ndidya painsurance, but 100 meters takaroerwa nengrini, takaroerwa futi. Those sprinter faster than him. That's the reality about these ones. So open field, ngaive open field. Greenhouse, ngaive greenhouse. Whoever designed these things, akatanga a good designer, he knew what he was doing. He knows you need to stay longer producing, kuti utenge plastic. Uyaizoti panze, you need to stay longer, utenge mapose. So the shorter the production cycle, the higher the revenue. Because if you can get 2 production lines, kuti iri ripinza neimwe production time, production time, you can maximize on your revenue. So if there's a boom and a slump, it's even. Any other questions? I think it's good. Sasa, do you have anything to add? So thank you for your time. Thank you for coming to our field day. We really appreciate you. Muitiro zvakanaka. Musazoshaya chikafu.